Well, the Friday Forum states that the urgent calling before Sri Lanka today is preservation, consolidation and development of democratic freedoms and the unity and independence of the country reinforced by well-conceived foreign policy based on long-term international interests and international responsibilities. The Friday Forum, which consists of a group of concerned citizens of Sri Lanka, made this statement in a press release titled "The Importance of a Balanced and Principled Foreign Policy."
In the press release, the Friday Forum points out that to interact pragmatically with other states, international organizations and non-state actors in a globalized, multipolar world, it is essential to pursue a foreign policy that is balanced, principled and based on enlightened self-interest. The Friday Forum notes, however, that 4 years after the military victory of the government over the LTTE, Sri Lanka remains in a defensive mode, failing to take advantage of the vast opportunities of peace and reconciliation, accompanied by an intelligently conceived foreign policy conducted professionally. The release states that it is pertinent to review the country's foreign policy in light of developments leading to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting to be held in Sri Lanka in November, namely focusing on a fresh debate over the 13th Amendment, campaigns against minorities, suppression of dissent with lethal violence and a deteriorating law and order situation. The Friday Forum adds that the rule of law must apply within the country and respect for international treaties, conventions and agreements observed scrupulously. The release reads that a lasting solution to the international criticism of Sri Lanka's human rights record lies ultimately within Sri Lanka and the evolution of a political solution to the country's ethnic problem. Therefore, so long as the country fails to seek and implement a politically acceptable solution, it will remain vulnerable to attacks and hostile resolutions multilaterally, while bilaterally it may risk economic sanctions. The Friday Forum says that if allegations of violations of international humanitarian law and human rights are investigated impartially and the violators punished as recommended by the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission, the Sri Lankan state can put an end to allegations of impunity directed at it. Furthermore, the Friday Forum says that Sri Lanka must nurture strong friendships with its South Asian neighbours, especially India, for mutual benefit while focusing on hitherto neglected areas of its international relations, such as Africa and Latin America, must not be driven by a short-term desire to secure votes in the UN Human Rights Council, but by long-term benefits in the national interest. Highlighting that more recently, Sri Lanka has endeavoured to balance its friendships with China and India, the Friday Forum notes that however close Sri Lanka's relations with China may be, Sri Lanka lingers within India's security perimeter and must not allow any misperceptions to arise and linger. The Friday Forum states that it is imperative that Sri Lanka's foreign policy should be bipartisan and that the country's political leaders should avoid being stampeded into hasty decisions and instead base their policies and decisions ultimately on national interest. Thus, policy formulations and decision-making should take place after widespread civil society consultation and careful scrutiny of long-term implications without alienating the country's international partners.
The Fundamental Rights Petition, citing that 600 families would lose their homes due to a housing project that is to take place on a 7.5-acre plot of land in Slave Island, was taken up for consideration once again at the Supreme Court today.
Parliamentarian Sujiva Senasinghe represented the petitioners. The petition seeks relief for the residents in question. As Chief Justice Mohan Peris did not appear in court for the hearing of the petition was postponed to the 23rd of September.
This case is regarding the Slave Island area, about 7 acres, privately owned actually premises by these people who are here with us today, about 550 families. And this land is actually, this is not given by the government, this land belongs to these people. They have deeds for it and that had not been contested. We hope that the court will hear our case and give some sort of justice to these people. So we are hoping that the next day is September 23rd and we hope that some sort of justice, and we have the faith in the court system, in the Supreme Court, and we hope that these people will get some sort of justice on the next day.
The Anunayaka of the Kote chapter of the Siam sect, Venerable Dr. Ittapane Dhammalankara Thera, says that there is a need to pass a Katikavat Panatha in order to resolve within the sect the current issues that have cropped up.
Now, the Thera also pointed out that if the presently formulated bill is to be passed in Parliament, each sect needs to put forward its required recommendations.
සංශෝධනයකින් පසුවයි බොහෝ විට සිදුවෙන්නේ කතිකාවත් සම්මත කිරීම. මොකද මේ එතන ඉඳලා ඊටාම හොඳ වැඩපිළිවෙලක් අනුව
Passing the Khatikavat Panata will help in taking the Sasana forward. This is necessary because there may be certain shortcomings or weaknesses in the Sasana. A Sanghadhikaran Act also needs to be brought forward. All the sects and Sangha Sabhas have presented their recommendations to the government. Now it needs to be legalized. We realize that there needs to be a certain mechanism in place. So the organization Urumeka Ulpata Foundation of Former Minister Milinda Murugoda is preparing to create a new mechanism. This cannot be done without the participation of the clergy and laymen. The support of Buddhist people is required for the betterment of monks. The Khatikavat Panata needs to be passed.
කතිකාවත් ඉතා ඉක්මනින් සම්මත විය යුතුයි, ක්‍රියාත්මක විය යුතුයි.
Well, in business news tonight, the Association of Depositors who invested in the Central Investment and Finance PLC charged that the CIFL has not paid them the interest and mature deposits due to them since February. Now, they point out that a majority of the over 5,000 depositors are retired persons and those who live on interest, and that they have been severely inconvenienced due to this.
CIFL, Association of Depositors, convened a media briefing in Colombo yesterday to reveal the injustice caused to them. They point out that the CIFL, a financial institution registered with the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, have not been providing its depositors benefits for nearly 7 months. There was a reason for us to select this financial institution. It was registered with the Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා මහා බැංකුවේ ලියාපදිංචි වුණ සමාගමක්. මුළු ලෝකෙම පිළිගත්ත ක්‍රිකට් ක්‍රීඩකයෙක්.
This financial institution sponsored an internationally acclaimed cricketer. On the other hand, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka advertised in the newspapers that money can be deposited in the following institutions. These people with permits have rendered over 5,000 persons helpless. Those who deposited in this are not those who earned black money. Hard money was deposited here. The CIFL has followed the Sakwiti system here.
මේ සල්ලි වල තමයි CILF එක සක්විති ක්‍රමය අනුගමනය කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka inquired from me as to why I deposited there. That means it is dangerous to deposit in finance companies. Everyone deposited in this institution because of the trust placed on the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Now the Central Bank of Sri Lanka cannot ask us why we deposited here. The institution named CIFL is faced with liquidity problems. There were issues in its management as well. We have appointed a management representative temporarily. We are conducting a study on the activities of this financial institution. Once we obtain the management representative's report, we expect to take necessary actions.
මේ සඳහාත් අපි තවදුරටත් ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගන්න තමයි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ.
Nalin Bandara Wijeratna Jayamaha was sworn in as parliamentarian today to fill the parliamentary seat left vacant by Dayasiri Jayasekara.
අභිනව මන්ත්‍රීන්ගේ ප්‍රතිඥාව හෝ දිවුරුම කුරුණෑගල මැතිවරණ කොට්ටාස පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රී ගරු නලින් නිලන්ත බණ්ඩාර විජේරත්න ජයමහා
Nalin Bandara Wijeratna, who contested from the Kurunegala district at the last parliamentary elections, secured 29,669 votes. He was placed 6th in the district. Nalin Bandara was educated at the Udubaddawa Dhammananda Vidyalaya and the Kuliyapitiya Central College. Nalin Bandara was a teacher and businessman by profession. He is also a father of 2.